Well, good morning. Welcome to Debbie's Back Porch. So glad to have you with us. Last year I made a video on canning green beans raw pack, and one of the viewers asked that next time I would do dilly beans. And I promised I would, and so I did. Dilly beans. These are yummy. I used one of the ball recipes, and I will put a link to it in the info section. If you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Now let's make some pickles. And yes, I do mean pickles because these are basically pickled green beans. And pickling is the only way you can safely water bath canned green beans, no matter what anybody tells you. This is from my garden. These are Provider bush beans, easy to plant and take care of. So I gave these a good wash, and now I'm going to cut them. I just take one and put it down in my jar. We're going to need a 1/2 inch of headspace on these beans, so you don't want your actual beans to be any longer than that. So give a good measurement to the first one, and then I'll just kind of use it as a guide. I'm not going to measure every single bean. Some of them may end up being just a little bit too long at the end, and I'll trim them off. Now, some beans have pretty thick strings. If you need to string yours first, please do. These are very tender. And this is the second batch of these, so I know they're not stringy. But you don't want to have long strings in your finished product. So if you need to pop them on the end and pull the string off, you can do that. So I'm just going to cut a few of these with my knife. I actually have done this before with scissors, but since I kind of have to measure, I'm just doing it here on a cutting board. As you're doing this, do an inspection for any bad spots. Like you'll see here, there's a spot that's a little overripe, and it has a little bite on it. So I'm going to cut that off. And as I said, if they're too short, that's okay. And when I get them all cut, I do a second wash by putting a few in at a time and submerging so that any of the little bloom debris will float to the top. It's very important that you cut the ends off of anything that you're pickling, because the bloom end on most things has an enzyme that'll make things mushy. So then I set up my canning station, and I have some hot water in here, and I'm going to keep my jars warm. And you can do this many ways. If you're water bathing, you can just put them down in the water bath water and leave them there until you fill the jars. I'm steam canning these, so I don't have a big pot of water, but you can use any kind of receptacle to keep them warm. Not the oven. You don't keep your jars warm in the oven. I'm dropping my lids down in the warm water. You don't have to. Never boil them. And here's a little trick that I use that I find really helps make sure you don't have any seal failures. Here are my rings. My rings were washed really well before they were put away. I run them through the dishwasher and I dry them well. But you know, no matter how well you dry them, there's going to be a tiny little ring of rust inside. And so I just dip a paper towel into a little vinegar and just go around the rim every time I get ready to can. I always find a tiny bit of rust, and so I always just do this really quickly in my canning process. Not hard, but worth the time. You know, a while back I bought some stainless steel rings to try, and I put them in a safe place and haven't seen them since. Now I'm ready to make the brine. This is 3 3/4 cups of white vinegar. You can use any vinegar you like as long as it's 5% acidity. You don't want to be using your homemade vinegar. I make homemade apple cider vinegar pretty often, but that's really not okay for making pickles, because you can never be 100% sure of its acid percentage. That's 3 3/4 cups of water, and this is a 1/3 cup of canning salt. You can use canning salt, you can use pickling salt, you can use kosher salt as long as you know it has no anti-caking agents in it. You don't want to use table salt. It'll turn your brine cloudy. And that's really important. It's not just about appearance. If pickled products go bad, they look cloudy. You need to start with a clear brine. I'm going to add just a little bit of dried pepper flakes. You can add some dried pickling spices if you like. Ball makes a nice little mix. You can safely add some dried spices to your canning, but be aware that canning often intensifies the flavor. Now I'm going to get my steam canner ready. I'm going to put in just enough water to come to the bottom of the rack. If you're using a water bath canner, just fill it up about halfway, depending on the size of your jars. I'm using pints. Enough to fully cover by at least 1 inch all your jars. So I'm going to turn this on and let it be getting hot. I'm going to hold that at a simmer. I'll hold my brine at a simmer. I've got my jars at a simmer. We're working to keep the temperature pretty consistent. And that's to eliminate the possibility of thermal shock. So now I'm gathering my equipment and my ingredients. I've got my jar lifter there, my funnel, my scoop. I've got some minced garlic, the recipe, and some dill. The recipe calls for 1 clove of garlic per jar. I'm going to use a 1/4 teaspoonful of minced garlic. I find as my hands get older, fresh garlic is a little hard. So now we're going to fill our jars. We're going to fill them one at a time. I'm putting a good sized sprig of fresh dill, and then I'm going to put my little bit of garlic. We're going to work, you don't have to rush headlong into this, but we're going to work fairly quickly because we're still trying to keep our jars, there's my garlic, our water and our brine at all about the same temperature. That's why you don't stage your jars. And by staging, I mean you don't put garlic in all your jars, then dill in all your jars, and then beans, and then your brine, because if you do that, the jars are pretty cold by the time you move them over. See, that one's just a bit long. Let me trim it off. I can tell you from experience, it's a terrible feeling to drop your jar down into the water and hear it pop. So we don't do staging in this house anymore. The jars, and I want to make sure that I don't have anything up over the 1/2 inch mark. Break off if you have to, trim it. You want to fit them in here fairly snugly, and you can take the time to put them in artfully, or not. But you do want to pack them in pretty firmly, pretty snugly. Otherwise, you'll end up not having enough brine. This particular brine recipe says about 6 pints, and I have beans than that. So I'm just going to fill them up until I run out of brine, and it worked out to 6. With my leftover beans, I'm going to make leather breeches, and I'll show you that in another video. And if you're not familiar with leather breeches, it's a way to dehydrate them, to string them up and hang them up and dehydrate them. That was pretty common in my grandmother's time, although I don't think anybody really does it much anymore. We're going to give it a shot. Now, my funnel here is marked for the headspace, and we're going to go a 1/2 inch headspace. And full disclosure here, I could not find, this is my first canning this season, and I could not find my little magnetic lid lifter or my debubbling tool. I've had house guests for several months, and I can't find anything. So I'm just going to improvise here. I'm putting my brine in up to a 1/2 inch, and then I have a little plastic knife here to debubble, and generally that'll take your level down, your brine level down just a little bit. So we're going to add just a tad more brine back up to the 1/2 inch mark. anytime you're working with fresh produce, you're going to have some air trapped in the produce itself, in the bean itself. So you see that I wiped the rim. If I were doing regular canning, I would have dipped that in vinegar, but this is pickling, so I didn't dip it in vinegar. I'm just wiping it off with a damp paper towel. Put my lid on, seat my ring, finger tight to the canner. So I have them all here on the rack, and I'm going to put my lid on. Now this is a real cheap steam canner, so you have to provide your own thermometer. I checked my thermometer before I started by putting it in boiling water and checking the temperature when the water started to boil, and I find that my thermometer is off several degrees, which explains why my last cheese didn't work. So I've ordered a new one, but what I know is that I have to bring the thermometer up to 220 to ensure a good rolling boil. So don't try to do this steam canner without a thermometer. When I get it up to temperature to a good rolling boil, I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. This recipe goes for 10 minutes. And checking as I go to make sure I'm maintaining the temperature. After 10 minutes, turn off the heat. Let it sit for 10 minutes. And after that 10-minute rest, a total of 20, steaming for 10, resting for 10, carefully take your lid off. I have a place here for my beans. This is a cutting board with a clean dish towel on it. And I'm just going to carefully remove those. And see the clear spot at the bottom. As I said, all fresh produce has air trapped inside. Things are going to float. But as they cool off, they will drop down to the bottom of the jar. Oh, I got that pint arranged artfully. I'll put it in the front. So I'm going to put these over here and let them sit undisturbed for 12 to 24 hours. I will just move this whole cutting board to a place that's draft free. Then I'll remove my rings, check my lids, and wash my jars and put them away. And you store these without the rings. They'll be fine. If I give away a pint, I'll pop a lid on it for the travel, for someone to take them home, but store without your rings. Generally, before I serve these, I chill them. They're great on a salad. They're great beside your hamburger. They're great right out of the jar. Hope you try it. Hope you like it. Thank you for joining us on Debbie's Back Porch. Hope to see you again tomorrow.